Hi folks, I just thought I'd do another video today. I've been walking around here now, and every time I mean to do this, someone keeps chatting to me. It's just full of dog walkers today, and that's the 20-year-old, by the way. When I talk about my 20-year-old, that's she's looking alright today. I just keep an eye, and I don't want to push her as much. We used to go out for hours, and I don't know if it's a good idea. We'll go out a couple of hours, maybe maximum now with her. Oh, hang on, I'm just getting bitten. Great. See, I'm in the woods. Sorry. I've just brought them two. I'm in the woods and I'm literally getting bitten. This is a glow. Oh God, I'm just having a scratch. Probably bad idea. Probably get infected. Probably get blood poisoning. Probably die. Ow, God. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Itch. Oh dear. I bet this wood's full of insects. Well, it's not, it's only April. This is my life. This is what I hate. Winter's just cold, damp and wet. Oh blast. Just hang on. Hit the motors there. Just trying to avoid people. Yeah, winter's horrible and cold and dark, and then you're thinking, oh great, the summer, which is then just a few months of misery of being bitten and too hot and can't sleep at night. So it's great. Then it's winter again and dark. Marvellous, isn't it? Anyway, I'm literally just been bitten again. And it's not even the worst time of the year for insects. It'll be in a few months. So, what was that? Oh God, I'm going to do this in sections. What was I going to talk about? There's a few things. I had it all planned in my head. Hang on, I'll walk over here and chat. I think they put these things for the deers. Let's see what I was going to chat about. Oh, yeah. I'm going to do this in sections, so what I'll do is I'll stop and start it and see if I can do it that way. Rather than doing loads of different vids, I'm going to do one big long vid. I should have brought a mic. I haven't brought a mic because it's not windy and I'm in the woods. The other phone seemed to have a funny noise if you listen. I don't know if it's me. We just had this weird, almost tinny noise in the background. So I don't know if there's a fault with the mic on it. Typical if there is. It's a reconditioned phone anyway. But I can always, hopefully if I plug a mic in, it'll get rid of that. It's the one I use for doing live shoots. I haven't noticed that noise before. Or maybe I just don't listen. Yeah, just watching that stream. I'm tempted to walk down there actually. Alright, I'll start and stop. So yeah, that's my plan. I'll see if I like doing it that way. I'll do it in different subjects and it'll be easier. Oh, it's a eye kiss there. Oh God. Give up you. Right, subject one, or the first subject to whatever, is the other day, well, I think it was yesterday actually, or whenever I don't know if it'll be yesterday when I upload this. You might not hear this for a day or two. Sometimes I have problems uploading. But the other day, I'll say the other day, that'll be easier. Filmed somebody running out the co-op. Apparently had stolen, of course for legal reasons you've got to say that, apparently had shoplift. Now, I've uploaded the footage, I'll see, I might put it again on this. He was a bit of a scumbag apparently someone said he'd assaulted one of the female staff, and when he was running to the car and jumped in, he almost killed a kid. I saw him just, someone had to hit the horn, so he's a horrible person. So anybody who comes, and then he jumped in looked like a brand new car, so anybody who's coming out with it, I shouldn't post it and blah blah, I'm not bothered. When you try and kill a kid, you're scum. And if you're one of his friends and you think it's fine for him to try and kill a kid, you're scum. I'm not bothered. Garbage. Because somebody says, aren't you worried? Nah, you're garbage. If you want to defend this guy, oh, someone's there. after he tried running over a little kid. Go get stuffed. Now, before anyone thinks it, so I get some people think that, it's all insured and stuff. What they do, these shops is, and by the way, that's, you get all these sort of, especially on the left, they go, oh, it's all insured, it's fine. Actually, no, what they do is, because the margins in these shops, they all think they're making a fortune. The margins are tiny. I think they usually have 1 or 2% margin of profit. That's really small. Your normal shop usually slams on about 25, maybe 50% margin. I forget how much it is. It's usually quite a big lot, maybe even more. I think that's why people go to Amazon and stuff, because they usually work on a smaller margin, all these onlines. But your shops usually, when they're selling goods, usually have quite a high margin. When they buy stuff, it's almost double sometimes what they'll charge you. But when it comes to supermarkets, they usually do work on a next to no margin. It's why, even the pound shops are just closed, because only takes a few people pinching things. They've just made, they can't afford it. So what they do is they just increase the prices. So who pays is, we all do. And it means that the poor pay more. So, if you're a socialist and think it's acceptable, well, you don't care about the poor and you don't care about the elder and stuff, who end up paying more. That's the reality. That's why, one of the reasons why your food's going up is because these shops have no option. They have to cover the costs. See if we can go down here. But yeah, the guy was reversing up, didn't care, nearly hit a kid, and then didn't care about anybody. And like I say, I was told it's possible, again all alleged, that he might have assaulted one of the female staff. So they've got pictures of him, but obviously, will the police do anything for? Apparently, I think he just stole a bag's worth of gear stuff. But you'll have to steal a few bottles of wine. That's like £100, isn't it? Maybe more. But again, everyone, when everyone's doing it, they just add on the cost to you and me. And so we're the ones who suffer. But again, if his friends, listen, I don't know if they know I've uploaded it or they recognise the car and they think, they defend him. Well, here's the thing. This guy, like I keep saying, one could have assaulted a woman, and two, I witnessed him nearly killing a kid. Well, actually 2 kids, because there was 2 kids in this car, and he nearly slammed into it because he didn't care about anyone else except himself. I don't know if there was another person in that car, but when it comes to killing little kids, I've sorry, don't care. And if you're the scumbag defending him, you're just the same. In my view, you're no different to somebody who, downloads kiddie pictures. If you don't care about kids at all, you're nothing. So, boo-hoo. Again, if you come up to me and say, oh, you shouldn't be filming, scum like that, the guy, as I say, nearly killed a couple of kids, a couple of toddlers in a car, and a kid walking along the road. So, this is a scumbag. So I've no problems. If you want to defend him, you're just below anything. Yeah, but this is what's happening, isn't it? People just robbing, and we've got this situation. I don't think it's helpful when the police aren't going out to prosecute, because then what stops you from stealing things, even if it's just something cost £1? It just encourages everyone. And the trouble with that is then that leads to people, if the shop, it was like I was saying, if you work in one of these shops and you then by accidentally grab, or your instincts kick in, and you grab this guy, or even hit him, are you the one in trouble? Or what happens if you do grab him, or even if he just runs out and hits you, or stabs you? it's just, we need to, I'm sorry, but that's why you need to prosecute them. Because it'll stop. I mean, this is why people assault everyone, because if it's your first time offence, there's a good chance you're just going to be let off with at most a fine. I mean, I knew someone who was assaulting women, and it was known to the police, and he didn't turn up to court and whatnot, and the most he got, they gave him I think a £70-80 fine. £50 with that with a surcharge to the victim. Well, that's nothing. And obviously I think it was like 30 quid to the courts. Well, this is somebody well known. It's not even his first offence. You'd think assault would get you in the nick for at least 6 months, even if it's your first time offence, but this is the trouble. And then because this is why then, I would argue, you've got people going around stabbing each other, because they don't feel, they know there's a good chance you get let off, and probably they've got scumbag mates who'll go around and intimidate the witnesses or victim. So there you go. I just thought I'd cover that one, because when somebody tries killing little kids, I'm not going to give a rat's sass. You're not a big criminal, you're just scum. And your friends are scum if they know you're doing this and haven't reported it to police. I don't care. There we go, folks. I just thought I'd cover that one quickly. So I'm just hoping I don't bump into people, because you got to start and stop. And hey ho, I'm getting bitten. Trouble with these woods is you get lost in here. I don't like coming in here, it's creepy. Well, it's weird. I'll show you if I get a chance. The weird statues everywhere. Freaks me out. Hang on, I'm just going to scratch. Oh, blast. Oh, scratchy. I mean, by the way, I might as well add this, and I'm just going to end it there. When you get all these shoplifts, I wouldn't want to work in a shop at all. You won't feel safe. What's the point of working in a shop? You want a bit of pride in what you do. So it was like I used to work in a cinema. You attack the cinema, I would have stopped people, and I did, because I had pride in that place. And back then it was like there was no minimum wage. I think it was on only a couple of pounds. It's not that long ago. I think year 2000 or something. Someone over there. I think there's a car park. That's probably why. Oh well, just have to be careful. But it's going to end up, people aren't going to want to work in these places. And I could imagine the job centre's going to say, oh, you've got to get a job there. Well, they're going to say no. I'm not going to risk working in a shop. I mean, I actually would not want a relative of mine or friend working in a shop now, which is bizarre. I don't think you'd be safe. And I know they're sort of bringing in new things for assaulting shopkeepers, but why? That's the stupidest thing going, because surely everyone should, what does it matter if someone's a shopkeeper or not, or shop worker? Surely if you get assaulted, it should be, the person should get a year in prison at least. And I do wonder, again, would the shop protect you? If you say you got assaulted, try to stop a shoplifter. Because we're not speaking to them, they says, oh no, we're not allowed to stop people. It's ridiculous. Because if that were my shop, I'd have a baseball bat behind the counter. I wouldn't give a rat's ass. You take anything from my shop, I'd be baseballing back the heck out of you. Even if I was staff. You won't be walking out that shop. I wouldn't give a rat's ass. But in this case, I mean, again, in this case, they've got loads of cameras. Oh, hang on, somebody's with a dog. I'll just have to be careful. I mean, that's the thing. They're not even bothered. It's like, oh, well, I don't even know if they'll bother even handing over the picture. I'll try and get hold of them, though. I'll see if I can get hold of the pictures of the person. I'll see, because there were definitely, they says, oh yeah, we've got loads of the footage. I mean, that's how daft these people are. Unless you just simply don't care. I mean, are they just daft? Or do they not care? Because the shop's got loads of cameras in there. All nice HD, 4K or whatever. It wasn't just one single camera. The place is full of them. Recording this twit robbing the place. And eventually these shops will start. I think they are doing. They just pass the pictures on to each other. Say, have you seen this person? I mean, I don't know. It's getting weird. It's just weird, and I think it's like America's the same. All the shops are closing. This is why shops are closing in city centres. Well, I mean, that's not just the reason. I mean, the other reasons are you've got silly twits who are getting greedy, all these mayors who are putting up air zones for cars. So you can't, if your car's a few years old, you can't afford to go in. Or even if it isn't, I know people aren't risking it. They just says we're not bothered. They've got cars that are compliant, but they just says we don't want to risk it. It's just uncomfortable. So that's one reason. The other is you've got speed cameras everywhere, and charging people if they go in bus lanes. All genuine mistakes, by the way. And yet, you read about people who do major crime. I think there was that woman the other day who, I think she stole 70k or something. She only has to pay back £1. Well, a genuine mistake is punished more than a real criminal. I mean, it was like I was reading. I think they did correct. There was that girl the other day who she did 50 or something in a 30 zone, which is really easy, by the way, because there's there's roads I've gone on which go from 50 suddenly to 20 and then back to 50. Oh no, actually 60, then back to 20, and then and it's, if you don't know the area, or you don't have your little camera, your little device, your app on, you're stuffed. Another scratch. And what's the other ones? Oh yeah, you've got these, parking wardens. And I had it once. They hide behind buses and things, or buildings or something. I literally went to post a letter, and I got a ticket. I don't think it was more than 30 seconds. That guy must have been hiding. It's the only way, because I went looking, thinking, where is he? And I bet it was hiding. I bet that was a little game. And we never went back to them shops ever again, and they started to shut. And then what else is there? Oh yeah, and obviously you've got the minimum wage, which is ridiculous, because again the socialists will argue, oh that's great, it benefits people, but the shops can't afford to pay the wage. They simply can't. And then that's why, when they introduced the minimum wage, what happened day one? Well, all the call centres closed and moved abroad. So all the jobs went. And that's what's happening now. All the jobs are just going abroad because of, a lot of it is because of the minimum wage. It's too expensive to employ people. But all these wallies who are socialists think it's great. Oh, it's brilliant, because they think people unemployed is better than having a job. But then they'll come out with, if the shops can't afford, or the business can't afford to pay you minimum wage, it shouldn't be in business. Well, here's the thing, a lot of businesses set up who, and they don't make a profit for years sometimes. And I mean, to be honest, I know one woman, and I've known this actually, a few of them. These days they just fiddle everything. So I knew one woman, and she has a shop. I won't say where, and they don't make a profit, but that's all their friends. So what they do is they agree to work. They work full time, but she only pays them half the way. I think they work X amount. I can't remember how many hours they do, but she only pays them 6 hours, and they're happy with that. Oh, mouse bad again. Oh, great. And that's what people do. I mean, the other one was when I was years ago when they brought it in. The way the call centre, I worked for this call centre for a phone firm, and I bet they do it now. The little games they played was they'd have you come in 40 minutes early to set the machine up. Basically, they wanted you to work for that 40 minutes extra. And then if you got a call, even 30 seconds when you were to finish, so let's say you're due to finish at 6 p.m, if a call came in, no, that was it. Sorry, not after, it was before. Say you were due to finish at 6 and a call came in 2 minutes or even 30 seconds to 6. You still had to stay there, which could be an hour, 2 hours, and you weren't getting paid for it. That's how they get around it. They'll fiddle it. It's just this pretense that everyone's on this minimum wage. It's not, it's fiddled. It's all nonsense. Oh yeah, and obviously the crimes, that's putting people off shops. It's horrible in some city centres. Full of violent people. Anyway, that's that section. I think I can hear someone coming anyway. I'm just scratching my knee. I'm full of itches. I'm trying to, like I said, I don't think anyone will be around normally. I've come in here and you never see anyone. Is that somebody coming up? Oh yeah, I'll put it on pause anyway and do another subject. So that's fitted. Hi folks, I think this will be the last subject, so I'll do this as I'm walking back. I was only planning doing 2, so I think, or was it 3? I think I've covered everything, but this is my final one. Now, I thought it was interesting that a video popped up today, and I'm just making sure I can walk down here. I think I'll go this way just in case, because it's still a bit slippery. Now, it was a Labour, I believe it's a Labour MP, I'll check when I get back home. And they've sort of, like a lot of left-wing people, are all backtracking over this trans thing. Oh, hang on, someone's over there. God dear. I didn't really want to stop. Let's just see. Hang on. I'll just walk up here. I've got a feeling this is only where they'll go. Let's just see where I can go to. Oh, poop. Poopy, poopy, poop. No one's been around for ages. And the moment you start recording, they've forgotten it. People are all selfish, aren't they, folks? Don't think about me. Let's just see. I'll see if I can go down this way. I'll probably break my neck. I don't even know what's down there. I think that's Ilkley over there. Oh, I've got a runny nose. Right, as I say, I'm back to the subject. Now, as you know, there's been a report out that's basically, I think from what I gather, it's saying that it's been a bad idea to push this trans thing on kids because you've got a lot of vulnerable kids out there. So, I mean, I've said this, I'll go for my view. I've never said ever there isn't such thing as trans, I don't know. But I do believe and suspect heavily, and I've said it for years, that children who are gay, lesbian, autistic, maybe have been abused sexually or whatever, and or have mental health, etc., are vulnerable because I think it's been, when you've got teachers especially who basically aren't trained psychiatrists who are just making this thing up, or people on the left, I think I get a feeling that a lot of people have not really cared about the trans thing, but have been using it to try and make themselves look good, because they think they were on some sort of I don't know. I think they thought this was going to be the latest trendy thing, and they didn't care about the kids in a lot of cases, or even adults. And I think a lot of kids who are gay or lesbian, as I've said, have been, getting it in their heads that they're not really gay or lesbian, but they're trans. Because it's trendy and it makes them popular at school. Oh, I've got a trans friend. You see, when I was at college, one of my friends who was gay, he had a lot of girls, there were about 6 of them if I remember, who hung about him. Oh, they were all over him saying, oh, we're your friends and all this. Because it was trendy. The day he left that college, he's never seen them since. And I think even today it upsets him. Because I've always asked him, have they ever contacted you since? Not one. No, they just used him. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of left-wing people do that to try and make themselves look good. And I think this is what happened with this trans thing. Everyone thought, oh, it'll make me look good. Do I care about the kids? Nah. Oh, it's all about me. All about my looks. How I come across. And unfortunately, I think kids, when vulnerable children, I think you put into their heads that they're trans and not gay or lesbian or whatever. Oh, sorry, I coughed there. And in fact, I actually think, seriously, that if I was at school, they'd have convinced me I was trans because I hate football. I've said it often. And my nan taught me to knit. So, you know what I mean. And I've heard people, there was one bloke, I think it was the guy, I might be wrong, who did the Harry Potter. And I'm sure he did a video, or one of these actors, there's definitely an actor who went out and did a video. And one of the kids says they're trans because they don't like football. That was their very words. And that's what's, the moment you hear that, you're thinking, that doesn't mean you're trans. And the problem is that once you go down this line, you've got your friends buzzing, going, oh, you're trans, yay, I've got a trans friend. Suddenly you're popular. Suddenly that's, and you keep going. And as I say, I know somebody who's trans, or claims to be trans, and I think he's a gay man, personally. He's very tall. He's not very pleasant, actually. He gets quite violent when he's drunk, and he turns into a bloke, to be honest. That's why you might be thinking, why am I saying him? Because he acts like a bloke, just a vicious one. He's very vicious. But he said he's been abused when he was... Oh, no, someone's told me he's been abused. I think he might have done. Very vicious. And I'll be pretty certain that is not a trans person. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, there's some squirrels over there having fun. I love squirrels. I hate people hurting. Don't know if it picks it up. I love it when they spin round them trees like that. One jumped down in front of one of the dogs the other day. Had the shock of its life. I mean, she wasn't bothered. She'd leave them. Oh, it's funny when they run around. I think the spotted men stopped, which is spoiling it. Now, again, I've never said and declared that trans doesn't exist. This is why, I separate myself from Posey Park or whatever she calls herself, because my understanding is that lady she just refuses to accept anyone trans. I don't know if people are trans or not. But I'd argue that in recent years this has just become a fashion thing, and suddenly we've got the numbers have shot up because they have been staying steady, and suddenly you just got in the last few years this hype. And and again, I'm not, if you're trans and truly trans, fine. But I do see people, and I've met them, who, deep down, I suspect they're gay or lesbian. Heavily. And the problem is that doing this transformation isn't it's not going to be the answer to the dreams in a lot of cases because of the medical care. And I also think they're not going to find love in the same way, because I think fewer people will want to go with a trans person, sadly, but I think that's the truth. The blokes that go with trans men or women or whatever you want to call them, I think do it because it turns them on. They just see them as a sex object, sexual thing to pleasure themselves with. I think, in fact, somebody said it on the radio, said something interesting which had never occurred to me. They said that you've got all these forums and websites where you've got, well, mainly men, I'd argue. Maybe there's some women who are encouraging kids to go on and tell them that they're trans because it turns them on, the thought of seeing people trans, they get a real turn on with wanting to have sex with men with willies but with false breasts. It's a thrill for them. Again, I think some people might be trans. I don't know enough. I wouldn't want to sit here and say people are definitely trans or not, because I think, it's a dangerous area. You need to really have a lot of interview. I think at the moment the problem is, it used to be, and I don't know if it still is, you'd have to live so many years as the opposite sex and get lots of interviews. My feeling now is you just self-declare, and that's dangerous, because I don't know, I think it's we know people are doing it and then they're making a mistake. Now, you may never get 100%, but I think the numbers of people regretting it are too high, and it's still early days, because a lot, someone who's a kid who's going through this it could be another 10-15 years before they regret it. And again, it's all new stuff. This isn't sort of quite a few people are trans actually have agreed with me on this, by the way, so I don't think I'm going against the real true trans, because even they're saying they're concerned how many are going down this line. And again, it's somebody told me the kid. Again, I don't know if it's true or not, because it's suddenly started to become trendy, so they're all declaring themselves non-binary. And by the way, I'd argue that the non-binary thing's false. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but the reason I say it is because it's based on sort of my understanding is that it's based on the fact, do you feel male or female? Well, I don't think anyone does. It's not, your sex isn't an emotion. And I think it's a way to con people. Because it's like saying, do you feel you've got brown or blue hair? Well, grey hair, whatever. Of course not, because it's an emotion. You don't feel, what colour your hair is. Oh, bad girl. No, bad girl, you'll make yourself sick. Come on. And I'll buy you some treats. No, come on, silly girl. I think when you start asking kids, what do you feel? Do you feel male? And, I think most people don't, you don't feel if you're male or female. It's not an emotion. And I think that cons people into going, well, I don't feel male or female, so therefore I must be non-binary. And I think it makes people feel special. And the trouble is, again, I think when you've got school kids, where it suddenly becomes trendy to be non-binary, everyone then says the non-binary. And it's just become... Anyway, this is... that wasn't what I was going to talk about. What I was going to talk about was how... Well, it is sort of what I'm talking about. It's the fact that you've got all these left-wing people, and this is... who've come out for... who, I'd argue, have no feelings towards this trans thing, but just used it as a way to make themselves look good, which I think is very telling. And what I mean by this is, there was an MP being interviewed, and now suddenly, I think a year or two ago, he was going, oh yeah, trans, it's great, trans women are, I can't remember that saying. Suddenly it's flipped. Since this report a day or two ago, I think it was yesterday, suddenly they're all backtracking now, and I've noticed this, and you'll see this is how false these people are, and it exposes they're not they don't really believe in anything. They just say things, in my view, what makes them to make themselves look good. And so, it was trendy for the left-wing people to say it. Oh, yes, all this, blah, 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 all this trans thing, without caring. They didn't care. They didn't believe in it. They were faking it. They were just going along with the latest thing. It was a bit like when they were all kneeling, BLM. And that turned out, it turned out not as great as they thought. Oops, she's an upset. It turned out, she's doing a wee. I think it's a wee. It turned out pretty strange because suddenly they were all buying houses that seemed to be for themselves. In fact, I was criticised from the beginning over the BLM. See, I argue that I'm slightly left-wing, but the difference between me and a lot of people is I think, I've said this about Ashaka, at least she thinks. I always stick up for her because I think she does think. Well, a lot of people just copy and paste, they just say what makes them think will make them look good. And, I always said, well, this is bizarre, this guy you're making into a saint actually put a gun to a pregnant woman. People actually were saying that wasn't true. They just wouldn't have it. I'm going, are you completely insane? You're turning this guy into what you think is the representation of the black community. I thought I was highly racist. I'm still shocked now. It shows you how racist, especially the white people were, that they were doing this, because they must have thought that, they didn't question it. They didn't say, hang about, this is going to make you look bad. Part of me wondered if the BLM was actually funded or set up by some racist group, because you couldn't, the KKK couldn't have done a better job of making, having the token black person, the hero, a criminal. It was stupid. It was madness. But all these, to me, all these white left-wing people were racist because they were going, oh yeah, we'll go along with it, instead of questioning it. And this is what I'd argue has happened with this trans thing. Again, going along with it, never questioning it, didn't care about the kids. And to me, I see this a lot with, I argue this about a lot of, especially the Labour MPs and left-wing ones. And again, if I was to vote, I'd go for the Green Party, but I think they're too left-wing. That's why I don't vote for them. But because I'm into the environment, that's the one I'd have voted for. But I won't because they're too left-wing. But again, what did they do? They came out with this, they'll just go along with anything that they think will make them look good. It doesn't feel real. It's like, when you see them waving the pride flag and companies and things, it never feels real. It feels they're just doing it to look good. And, it's like a lot of these things we see. Oh, she's doing a wee now. And again, isn't it interesting? I want you, this is why I'm saying it now. Watch how everyone's backtracking. How they're going to pretend that they never were fully on board. I think there's a radio presenter who's trying to make out, oh yeah, I wasn't really. They're dishonest in that regards. There was nothing wrong with saying, look, I don't know enough about it, or whatever, but there were they didn't want to appear. What mattered to them was their appearance, looking good. That's why I find them dishonest in that. I have to look good rather than question things. And it was a bit like the lockdowns, wasn't it, folks? They're wearing the masks. Now, they did the same thing there. Now, a lot of people, at the time, you had people like me who would come across, and you can see it. I've always said it. I said I don't think these lockdowns are going to do anything but kill people. I don't think people are going to be, I never saw any possibility of these preventing the spread of the virus. In fact, it changed from slowing the virus to stopping the virus. That's suddenly what they switched it to. It was weird. and there was no evidence because all the care homes said they got it in there. Because again, I always, it seems strange, but all these lefties were spreading nonsense because they wanted to, because they were told, oh, if you spread this, if you support it, you'll look like a good person. And in fact, this is why, the impression was from the media, if you were to dare go against it or question it, you're a bad person. And so all these people who claim, funnily enough, that if Hitler was around, they'd have questioned everything. They wouldn't have gone along with it. No. In fact, they actually did go along with it. Everything. Because what mattered to them was looking like a good person. They didn't question anything. It's like the mask wearing. These fake masks. They weren't N95 or N99, which are medical grade. Most people wearing non-medical grade, which one didn't fit the face properly, two the material wasn't medical grade, so it was never fine enough to stop the disease going in and out. And like I said, because it didn't fit properly, it didn't matter anyway, because they were usually dirty masks and there were gaps in the masks, around the nose if you look. So when people breathed out, their glasses would steam up, I'd crack up laughing. And by the way, in my view, a lot of people who wore these masks did so for two main reasons. One, because they were incredibly thick and never questioned anything. Even though at the beginning, the doctors did say clearly, because I used to listen to PM on Radio 4, and the doctors kept saying, don't bother wearing masks, because the doctors and nurses need the medical grade ones, and these non-medical ones are going to do zilch for you because they're not fine enough. They didn't need to research it. That was well known. So basically, these people did not question it, which was straight. And the fact is, people who sick like me said they're not going to do anything. They never questioned it. This is, I wear them because everyone else has told me I look a good person. Or two, they knew these didn't work, but they just went along with it. It was bizarre. And yet now they'll, some of them now try and give you some wishy-washy. Oh, it wasn't us, it was the Conservative Party. No, you used to go along with it. I used to read posts on Twitter, I've screen grabbed them, so they exist, where you'd have these left-wing people saying, and I'll never forget, before the lockdowns, they said two things. One, they said, the Conservatives want to kill you, that's why we don't have lockdowns. Even now they're still saying, they're trying to justify it by saying, if we went in lockdown earlier, and all these wishy-washy garbage, even though countries that didn't do lockdown have never had a different death rate. Sweden, I think, didn't do a lockdown, and their death rate's no different, and they live actually closer together. I just don't know what happened there. Made a funny sound. Because most people live in two main cities in Sweden, so they're actually closer together than you could say in England. So the death rate should have been higher, and yet it wasn't. But, I was always told, by the way, I never wore a mask. And, I was sat there watching people become alcoholics, drug takers who were sat home depressed. I know people have took their lives. If you Google the Humber Bridge, you'll find they had to close the path down because people were jumping off, they couldn't cope. People just did not want to live. And I think it sent people bonkers. Kids were missing. This is the logic of the left as well. Send kids home. Well, what did they do? They played with their friends. They were closer together than even if they were at school. And yet, these lefties were going online, and I saw it constantly, trying to scare people, saying, your kids are going to die from it. Guess what? The death rate was, in reality, 0 or close to 0. I think there was about 3 or 4 kids who died. And from my understanding, all the 3 or 4 kids were dying anyway. I think they had, someone's over there. Oh, sodding hell. They were dying of cancer and stuff. In fact, this is something you'll find that, and by the way, when people died, it was recorded with COVID, but I believe not from COVID. That's how they worded it. They didn't always know. In fact, cases, there's no evidence that anyone actually, the people who died could have died from anything. They didn't do an autopsy, obviously, because it had been expensive, so they just brushed everything off as with COVID. So did they die of COVID? Well, you can question that. Some may have done, some may not have done. But if you look at the stats, most people who died were over 75. And, oh God, people there. I'll just walk down there. I'm trying to avoid, there's some kids up there and people behind me. So basically, the people who died were basically, if you look, the bulk were over 75, 80-ish, who were, and if you look, 80% of them appear to have serious health conditions. And yeah, you'll have read some will have died who had no known health conditions. That doesn't mean they were healthy, it just means they didn't know about it. And if you read about doctors and nurses dying with high viral load, hang on, I'm going to walk down this. I'll just pause it because I'm going to walk past people. Oh, hang on, I'll just walk through this woods and avoid people. Let's see if I can do it. So let me turn it off. If you ever read about doctors and nurses and you're going, oh, well, they were healthy, why did they die? It was a high viral load. Basically, what happens there is they get, and it was talked about at the beginning, it's known about. What happens is you breathe in a hell of a lot of the virus, it won't go, rather than the normal amount, and it overloads your system. So it's not uncommon. Happens to the doctors and nurses. That's why they needed to wear medical masks, basically. The other daft side of this, and then I'm going off subject, is the shops who had everyone stood queued up outside. I used to just walk straight in. I would never. I refused to stand in line with everyone. So I used to just walk straight in. There's people there. Hold on. See if I can avoid. I'm trying to avoid everything. Oh, little madam there. Of course, she has to bark to interact. I'll ignore her. I'm completely lost, by the way. I don't know where the heck I am. Oh, great. Dogs barking. Let's see if I can get away with it. I'm going to have to turn back home soon because it's getting quite late. It'll be dark. I don't know if the mic will pick up. I haven't plugged the mic in. It's got windows, so it might sound bad. Should have brought a mic. I'm going to have to start bringing one just for the heck of it, just to give you that better sound. I need a decent mic when I've got some. It's okay. So what was on about? High viral load. Yeah, it just overloads the system. But yeah, when you look at the stats, you do stock, these are UK stats, by the way, the official government stats from the official government sites, not some sort of dodgy website. One of the things I always try and do, folks, is I try and do the official stats, not someone's made up blog stats. I always try and keep to those. But yeah, again, you now look at the left and they're sort of backing down, trying to dismiss that they actually were the ones pro-lockdown, pro-masks. Some still go along with it because they think it makes them sound or look good. But in my view, nah. But this is me going back quite, this left-wing thing. Like I keep saying, in my view, a lot of left-wing people just go along with whatever the latest thing is to make them look good. They don't care about the subject. So I see this a lot with, I almost laugh with these Labour MPs when they go along with whatever the latest thing is, because I'll believe they care about it. They care about votes. And it's like a lot of the left-wingers, they care about looking good. well, I mean, this is why, even though I call myself a bit left-wing, I'm prepared, and I will do, and that's why I upset people, is I'll go against the grain, and I'll make myself look bad. And I might be wrong on things, but I'm prepared to. That's the difference between me and I think other people who are claiming to be left-wing. I'm prepared to make myself look bad. And I might be wrong on things, but I'm prepared to do that because I don't care about looking good. In fact, to be honest, it's a bit like a friend of mine died when she was about 18, might have been younger, who was very overweight. And this is a reason I'm prepared to go against the grain. She died because she went into hospital under the operation. It was a basic operation, nothing special, but because she was so heavily overweight, she died in the hospital. Or at least I believe that's the reason. I don't think that she had any health reason. I'll say that. That's my caveat. I don't think there was any reason for her to have died except because she was heavily overweight. I do think she'd have survived if she wasn't. But all the friends, or so-called friends, who were sort of trying to be left-wing, said, oh no, you can't fat shame, you've got to allow people to get on with life. And I was foolish, I did. I'll never do that again. This is why people, if you want to know why I'm funny like this, it's because I saw the evil of these left-wing people who clearly don't care about people, they just want to look good. And it's why when people now go on about body shaming and all this, you can get stuffed if you think I'm careless. Oh, you've got to be nice. And I've been told this a lot. Oh, you're not very nice, are you? No, I'm not. Because I don't care about it. I don't care about political correctness. I don't care about this rubbish anymore. Wokeness, any of this rubbish. Because I see the harm. I see it as an evil. Because the people who go along with it aren't doing it because they care about people. They do it about making themselves look good. So, you can be upset at me all you want. It ain't going to make any difference. And, people say, oh, you're right wing. What a ridiculous, stupid thing to say. But that's the only way they can respond, because they don't want people to question them. They never do. People get upset and block me because they don't want to be challenged, questioned or anything, because they want to be told they look good, they're good people. It's a bit like the protests, I've said it. A lot of the lefties who go, the white left-wing people, I don't think go because they believe in being pro-Palestine. I don't think it. I think they go because they think that makes them look good. That's the way they want to, this is why I think they get angry with me, because the people who go who are, connected Palestine, relatives, whatever, I have never had a problem with. They're friendly, and I actually believe, it doesn't mean I support them against them, but I genuinely believe, most of them actually genuinely believe in what they're protesting about. I don't think it's going to do them any good. I think it just annoys people. I mean, I think, but this is why I think a lot of the white socialists, and I say white socialists because all the socialists I see seem to be white. There's one or two who aren't, but in most cases they are. And in fact, I'd say 100% middle class. They're going, I think, because they think it makes them look good, and therefore I think when they prance around smashing up buildings, I don't think they care about the cars. I think it's about them, and we see them on these videos. They love to film themselves. They love to be seen. They're buzzing. They want the cameras to view them. So they made it not about the protest. It's about them. They don't care about the protest, in my view. It's like they just stop oil. I'm into environment. I don't feel they're into the environment at all. I feel they think it makes them look like a good person. And that's what matters to them. That's my criticism of them. Because I don't think they are good people. I think they'll just turn up to anything that makes them look like good people. And I'd go as far as, if somebody put on a, well, I won't say it because it'll probably get me banned. But I think you could actually get these people to do horrendous, support anything, even the most horrendous thing. And that's why I think a lot went along with this trans thing, because I don't think they cared about the kids. They just cared about it made them look good. It's the latest thing. And I can see what will happen now is all these people, because this report's come out, will back down and pretend they weren't as strong, or their views were, they'll try and convince you that's not what they meant. Like some of the presenters and that, I think there was a presenter who comes across as quite vile, to be honest, but he just tries going around dismissing everyone's views. And I think already he's trying to backtrack and, try and convince you what he was saying wasn't actually what he was saying, and he'll try and convince you that. I don't know what. It'll be interesting, but I think that's what you're going to find, folks, over the next few weeks, days, years. Everyone's going to sort of try and blag it that they're still good people, and, whatever. They're going to have their excuses, and it's all going to be pre-planned. But they're not good people. The people who backtrack, I'll guarantee, are not good people. Because it tells, if they believed in it, they shouldn't be backtracking. They'd still go along. They'd say, look, I still support it. I'm not going to change my mind. At least even if they're wrong, or I don't agree with them, at least I'd respect them. Because at least it's saying that they believed in the cause. It's those who backtrack, I won't have any respect for, because it's very telling that they're just going along with whatever. Right, I'm going to finish it there, folks, because there's people in front. Alright, and bye. There's some kids, I think. I don't know where. Anyway, I'll go. Hi, folks. I'm going to make this a quick one. I noticed the reporting that the Sheridan Smith play, or whatever she's in, is closing early. But I've never understood why she's suddenly become this. It's weird. This darling of everyone. Suddenly this hero. Because she's just an actress. And, I don't think she was particularly, she's not unattractive, but I don't think she's that special. The only thing I saw her in that 2 pints of lager thing, which was okay in that, but even in that, I don't think she was the best. I always thought that the one who played the dim-witted one, the one with the darker skin, she was always the one who I thought was the bonny one, who was funny. Even the other girl, I thought she was better and funnier, but, my favourite in that was the girl who was always playing the dim-witted one. I thought she was hysterical. But the weird thing is she covered herself in tattoos. Now, to me, I can't imagine how many acting roles she's going to get when she's got tattoos visibly, even right down to her hands. Because, it's okay, you could argue she could cover them up, but I think you'd have problems. It was weird. Because I think she's going to end up losing out a lot of roles because of that. Can you imagine being, you can't play anybody, you can't play somebody from Victorian times because you're covered in tattoos. And somebody said to me, but they can cover them up with makeup, but, supposing you've got to do a scene when it's raining or something. People just won't bother. It'll be just too much hassle constantly trying to patch. And I don't think she's, I don't think she looks much older now. But I thought I'd just introduce as a little side subject. I don't think there's much to say. I just think it's really, I just don't get it why everyone's going, she's marvellous, isn't she great, blah, 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 blah. I think, again, it just seems to be the trendy thing to say. Isn't she marvellous, folks? Oh, gosh, marvellous. Why? And plus, there was some reports, I don't know if they're true or not, she came across as, wasn't she unpleasant to somebody or something, being rude. Now, unfortunately, I think sometimes ego. So the dog's just done another pee. I think it's the trouble with actors and actresses and sports people, and anybody, models and so, is that the ego gets to them. They think they're greater than they are. And I don't think she's that special. Sorry. But I say, I just did this as a quick one. I just don't see, you should be grateful of the work you get. I see this a lot with actors and actresses moaning. Moaning, I should be getting these roles and all this. Why? Should be just grateful. No one, they act as if they are above everyone. It's only just reading off, it's just memorising often. In fact, sometimes I don't even if they memorise a few words that's often somebody else has written for them. It's nothing special. Actors and actresses aren't special. I mean, they start, when you see them signing things, political things, as if they matter, then they're just normal people like you and me who've just chosen just to do acting. It's nothing special. You and me can do acting. I mean, it really isn't a special thing, and yet they act as if they're, marvellous and so important. You're not important. You're only as good as what people, if tomorrow no one wants to employ you, well, that's you take it on the chin. You've had a great life up till now, but you may not tomorrow. But him go, oh gosh, I'm not getting the roles. I'm too old. Well, that's life. Somebody else will come along, probably cheaper and new and more attractive. That's how life is. You just take it one day at a time. But they expect, they act as if the old real stars, from the 40s, they were real stars. I mean, but even some of them knew that. I mean, actually, I think they could have gone on, but some said they quit because they didn't enjoy being actors in the 70s and stuff and 60s. They enjoyed it at the time in the 40s. But I'd say about the Hollywood actresses and even what's the lady? I forget what the name is. Sorry, I forget. She's still alive today. She was Joan Collins. I mean, she's a star. There's very few people like that these days who have that presence, and yet they act like they're God Almighty. And I get quite irritated by it, to be honest. I'm not that none of these people pulling films anymore or TV shows. Oh, I can hear somebody. I mean, to be honest, these days an unknown person will probably just get the same ratings as Sheridan Smith or someone else. I don't think people turn on because of the names. Oh, someone's there. I'll just walk across. Probably people think you're mad talking to yourself. Dun, dun, dun. Great. Ugh. Just walk. Well, so I've come to the end of that anyway. I was just going to moan a bit, to be honest. Moan and complain. Now I think actors and actresses are all a bit, they're not special. I know they act it. I mean, to be honest, I think some YouTubers and stuff, they're getting a bit egotistical. They drive themselves mad with it. I've seen models go mad. I've known a couple of models just went mad with the fame. They couldn't handle it. And you see that with some of the YouTubers and stuff. They're desperate for fame. And the trouble is, the moment they start getting fewer hits, they get panicky. Because, here's the thing, somebody else will come along who's just as good or more, if not better. I mean, I'm not interested in fame. I mean, I've got zero talent. I mean, I've got a horrible voice. I mean, if you're daft enough to listen to me, it's a bit sad, really. So I've got, oh, great, I'll just wash these trainers as well, I won't mind. Now they're all yucky again, they'll stink. Oh, great. Yeah, I've literally just washed them and now they're all manky again. But yeah, I've got zero talent. I mean, I don't go around saying, watch my channel, folks, because I know I'm as dull as they are. I just do this to entertain myself. That's literally why I do this. Somebody says, oh, you don't get many views. I know. I do it to entertain myself. I don't have any ego. I can care less. But yeah, I see it with some YouTubers. They start panicking and they're desperate. They go running around telling them, oh, I'm so-and-so, look at my channel. Well, here's the thing. Most people aren't interested. I think they get devastated when people say I'm not that bothered. I mean, my friends don't watch my channel, so I don't expect anyone else to. I mean, it's a bit rude of them, but you think they would. Even if it was just in the background, but they go, oh, I can't be bothered. Oh, cheers. But then again, to be fair, you hear that with quite a few YouTubers. Their own family don't want to watch. They prefer to watch other people, not because they think they suck. It's just weird for them to. Oh, blast! Oh, great! I have literally washed these. I'm gutted. As I say, I'll have to start plugging a mic in just for better sound. Ideally, I'd rather just do this without the gimbal, but it'll just be horrible footage. It'll shake and look dreadful. I mean, the other way around it is just to put it on, I think 60 frames a second or even higher, and just slow it down. It'd smooth it out, but then you wouldn't get the sound. I'd have to record the sound separate, otherwise the sound would slow down. I think I know where I am now. I've come a weird way. I don't know, I'm tired now. Hang on, I'll get off then. Hi folks, I'm just going to record a few seconds of the bird songs. It's nice. It's a little nature bit here. It's quite sweet. I just thought I'd do it, but blast. I recorded that very well. Oh, this camera keeps going funny. I don't know if there'll be anything to see. Probably the worst place to be next to this to get bitten, but still. Anyway, I thought I'd do another quick one, which is there was a guy who talks about classic TV and stuff. She's doing a wee, and he did one where people said shows they thought were dreadful, and one of them is actually one of my favourite. I'll just show you where I am. It's Chevin Forest if you ever want to come. Sign's got a bit clunky. Just thought you might be interested. Let's have a look. The sign's got dirty. I'll go this way. It's windy at the moment. As I say, I've no mic in, so I don't think it'll be windy, and I'm getting bitten. But somebody said, and a comedy called Sorry as one of the worst ones. Now, I think Sorry is one of my favourite comedies going. And if you get a chance, watch it online. And the reason is, and I think maybe you might think it's a bit quiche or something, or whatever the word is. Now, maybe it doesn't appeal to everyone, but the reason I think it's funny is because I was brought my gran, and she were acted like that. Not as bad, but not so. I mean, the cooking thing is hysterical because she was. I shouldn't say it, but she was a dreadful cook. And that's why it makes me laugh at. I just think it's one of the. I think is it Ronnie Cobb? I forget. I'm terrible with names. And it's just all the way through. It's just, to me, it's one of the funniest shows ever made because it's not this sort of British sort of what is the word? Is it quiche? I forget. Like some shows. I think it is a funny show. Especially just, and the funniest thing is just his interaction with his mum, dad, and himself. And the sisters adds to it as well. Because I don't know. I was brought up like that. Maybe that's why I find it funny. Because my nan used to come out with meals that were utterly dreadful. Such as she'd basically give me, I mean, this is before I was a vegetarian, she'd give me mince and it'd either be rice or spaghetti, and we'd go around the world. She'd say, oh, that's Chinese, and this is, oh, it's Indian. No, it wouldn't be. It would be just the same thing, but she'd just rename it. And she'd come out with, oh, I'll put, if I was naughty, she'd say, oh, you won't get any tin. I used to buzz over that. But I mean, there's like a sketch on Tony Hancock where she took the mention her bad cooking, the secretary in that, Miss, I forget what they call her, Miss something or other, and she makes white sauce or something, and it's solid, and that's exactly what my nan used to do. This is why this is the reason I've recorded things, because I wish I could record. I've gone back and recorded the stuff she used to cook. It was dreadful. She used to make loose covers. She was brilliant at that. But cooking, oh God. And she'd always be devastated when the other nan's cooking, because that used to be brilliant. But no, I just think Sorry is one of the funniest shows going. I mean, to be honest, I still do it now. I always go around, people think it's funny. Well, they think I'm being funny. Well, not funny, as in entertaining. They think I'm being a bit odd. Because when people swear, I always go language. But no, I thought it was just, I'm not going to go on much because I'm not showing any clips from it. But if you get a chance, I think most of the episodes, if not all, are on YouTube. Go watch them. They are, to me, the funniest. I'm watching them now. I think it's one of the funniest shows going. I mean, Americans might not get it, and maybe you do think it might be out of date for a lot of people, but it just cracks me up. Anyway, I just leave it there. I just thought I'd just say it, because when I heard somebody say it's the worst comedy, I thought it's not. I mean, there's other gems I always think as well. What else is there that I saw? There's one where they're set in an old people's home. I forget the name of that. That's funny. It's all these women in an old people's home. I think it's from the 70s. And there's, what's the other one? I'll tell you what makes me laugh now. And it's funny now. I didn't mind it at the time, but I think now it's just seemed, I don't know why, it seems hysterical. It's like Keeping Up Appearance. There's just something about it now. It seems funnier. That's a show worth watching. There's quite a few of these. I think are pretty decent. Even at the time they might have seemed a bit old-fashioned. I think now they seem funnier now than they did back then. Possibly because a lot of comedy now sucks. It's just bland rubbish, just non-offensive garbage. I mean, this is the thing. Even though some of these comedies, even the bad ones, seem funnier now than the stuff they make now. I mean, there's a lot of comedies that I've started watching. I suspect they're not that good, but compared to what we have today, they seem hysterical. They seem fresh, and there's stuff I haven't ever seen. I'll tell you something worth listening to. It's audio only. I think they turned it into a TV series, but I think the audio ones is funny. It's called Father Knows Best. I love those shows. American. Brilliant. And obviously I'm a fan. If you haven't listened, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, Tony Hancock. Absolutely, I can listen to them radio shows constantly. In fact, going home I'll probably listen to them. That's all I listen to. I just buy cheap earbuds that, for £10, and I listen to Tony Hancock. That's literally it. Still kills me now. Think it's just hysterical. Best shows ever. And my other ones that I think that are amazing is, obviously I love Law and Hardy and all things like that. But, what are they called? There's two American guys. They do this, Who's on First, or First Base or something. Oh, I've forgotten the names. You'll know them if you Google them. To me, they do a brilliant radio show. I mean, they're brilliant and everything. They're brilliant on TV, films. Abbott and Costello, that's it. Yeah, I think Abbott and Costello could be, I'd argue they could be the funniest people going, because they're funniest on every medium. While you can name other comedians. They're usually either good on TV or films, but not good on radio or vice versa. Well, Abbott and Costello, I'd argue, are the only ones I know who are good on every single medium and can pull it off. Because even some of my favourite comedians, not all comedians can pull off radio. Mainly because I think they need feedback. And I know, although they do have an audience of sorts, I think some, when you listen to them on radio, don't have that same feedback. Or they just are more visual. I mean, I think Lauren Hardy are visual comedians. It's why I think I've heard them on the radio and they just never sounded, it just sounded not good. Who's the other one? There's that other one with the bent snooker cue. I've forgotten his name. Always acted as if he was drunk. I've forgotten his name. There's quite a few, but the modern stuff sucks. Anyway, I'm going completely off subject there, but yeah, if you, like I said, if you get a chance, listen to me, see what you think. I think Sorry's hysterical. I mean, it's just, and it's the feedback. It's, his mum will say something, and he has this brilliant replies. It's just this quick replies, which is amazing, and she does too. And to be honest, a lot of it, you see her, and I'm sure she's giggling because the mother looks like she's in hysterics with her stuff, and she seems to always be. I think she's in hysterics doing it and trying to hold back giggles because there's, I think she loves doing it. And the father's funny to me. The way he sort of suggests that he's a bit of a womanizer, but he's probably never had an affair ever. But he just likes, but he does, in it, he's quite flirts with women. No, and the way that the sister comes cleaning up, I've had that with my grandparents. They're not as bothered about it yet. My uncle used to do that with my nan's house. She used to go mental. But yeah, I think that's why I love Sorry, because I think they managed to capture something. I mean, the other one is, which I always think is clever, is some of the episodes I love as well is Dad's Armour, because some of the episodes are amazing to me. They captured something, and I don't know, it's clever. I think it's more, I think Dad's Armour is clever on set because you have this sort of basic simple comedy where everyone's just got catchphrases, but then you've got this sort of layer to it. There's several layers to Dad's Armour, and there's also a serious one as well, I think, I'd argue. I mean, they do cover some subjects such as there's one where the guy could have what is it? I can't describe it. I just think there's several layers to Dad's Armour, which is, it's special. There's a sort of simpleton one where, like I said, it's just the, simple, and they could have just kept to that, just sort of catchphrases. But then you've got, like I said, it's got layers to it, which makes it really enjoyable, that you can go back and watch and you see newer things and you realise that it's not just the catchphrases, there's more to it. What other shows? I didn't mean to chat about the shows. I was going to say go watch Sorry, but I mean, I actually still, and some people slate it, Terry and June, I think that's a funny, I enjoy that. I still enjoyed watching them. I don't think they made as many episodes as I thought they did. So I've been trying to watch them online and I've got through them quite quickly. And yet in my head I thought that series went on years, but I might be wrong, maybe they did, and it's just a few that's online. What other shows have I been watching? I don't know, I think I might do a chat about it, but the trouble is I don't want to put copyrighted material on to chat about, and I don't want to be just one of them that uses other just talks about endlessly other shows, because that's quite weak. I'd rather do my own content, but sometimes I think it's just worth saying. I might just chat about the odd films that people don't know about. I mean, there's like a film, and I have to talk about it one day. One of my favourite films is one, I think it's from the 70s, and it's got these, I think, is it Dobermans? I always get the Dobermans and the other ones, the German dogs, confused. There's like the big ones and the thin ones. It's the ones that, if you ever watch Magnum PI, they've got to, I don't even know if it's the same dogs actually. There's two of them then, I think they're named after some gods. I think one, I forget, Zeus I think's one, forget the other. Love that show, by the way. Magnum PI is one of my favourite shows. I used to want to be a private investigator, thinking it would get me all the women and stuff, driving around in a Porsche. Not a Porsche, so it's a Ferrari. Apparently, talking about that, apparently the guy who bought that Ferrari, because I think in the show it's jet black and he sprayed it red again. Which, why would you do that? Anyway, that's just irritates me, that does, because it's the classic car. I mean, I'd have preserved that for life. I wouldn't drive it or anything. It'd be just, I'd have maybe had that in a museum for others to see. Anyway, but yeah, there's in this film there's several of them, and they use them as a bank robber to do a bank rob. I'll have to talk about this because I think it's one of the funniest films going. I can't remember what it's called, and they steal the dogs, and they get this trainer to train them. But it makes me laugh because they don't tell him what they're up to, but he doesn't even question it. The fact that the dogs are called, and if you remember, they're called Bonnie and Clyde, Ma Baker, and I forget the other. He's a famous bank robber. So they're all famous bank robbers, and I think they call they've got, I think, an English dog. Remember English ones, the small ones. I think they call him after what's the guy who ran the FBI? Oh God, my memory's bad today. I'm tired. He ran the FBI for ages, and they call him that. So I'll have to look it up. I might do this one day, chat about this film. And then they use them to rob a bank. It's just the funniest thing going. I don't even know if it's supposed to be as funny as it is, but and it just turned out to be one of the best films ever. My mate was saying he loves it as well. And then I won't spoil the film, but oh dear. I was going, I thought there was somebody there, it's just the wind. Again, this might sound terrible because of the wind. Oh dear, I think everyone's gone. So it's getting late, I'll have to go because it's going to be dark when I get home. Wasn't meaning to stay out at all. I was only supposed to be coming out 10 minutes, keep her, and she's probably been out longer than she should do. Oh, she got black feet now. She's doing well to say she's 20, isn't she, folks? Still, all right, I'll leave it there. If I think that might be the end of this. If I think of another subject, I think that's it. To be honest, for today, I think I've chatted quite enough. I don't plan to do it. It's just when I'm in the mood. See, that's what I used to do. If you notice, I've done a few podcast type things. I get in the mood to do it, and then maybe for a few days I'll do them, and then I just get burnt out. So I'll just do it when I'm in the mood. Otherwise, I won't enjoy doing it. I'll just do it for the sake of it. It's just I get things, in my head, and it's a sort of the reason I do these is just it's just to get stuff out of my system. No one else will listen to me, so I sort of talk to myself. It's much easier. And while I'm walking the dogs, it's quite nice. But I said, I want to put the mic on. Before I used to just talk straight directly into a recorder. That's why you'll see some of the stuff I've done is just audio only. It's easier, but the batteries actually don't last on that more than an hour. So I've been recording stuff and it's just died. That looks like it's blown down in the bad weather. Must have died, and it's been a while since I've been, maybe about a year. I don't come here that often. It's not my favourite. Well, it's okay. It does. It's a change. I might. No, I think the see, you can go round, but I'm not sure it's going to be ideal for Madam to bring whenever. I might do one day if I'm bored or something, but last. I don't know if that'll have shaken, because sometimes if you hold it wrong, you get this noise and it shakes, and I think the motors are coping. I notice it when the batteries are going flat, but I think it was just because I had a funny angle. So if it's suddenly shake, because I noticed this the other day I was recording it, was just the phone was vibrating like nuts. It was just I didn't hear the sound, but you could just see the footage was just shaking all over. I mean, ideally I'd handheld it, like I said, but unlike a GoPro that steadies it out. See, on my GoPro I can walk around with just holding that. But editing's a pain, because it does maybe 4 or 5 minute clips and you've got to transfer them, and it takes forever. While this, I can just press a button and it just transfers everything. Well, not in one go, but I tend to record. I've done 19 minutes or so. I tend to record maximum 30 minutes. That's why on the protests, you might see every 30 minutes, give or take, there's like a split second where it moves scenes. You might just notice it if you have bothered watching them. And I do that just so that, it's raining, so I'll leave it anyway. It's starting to spit. I do that so, because I notice sometimes files crash. If I do it long, maybe over half an hour, say over an hour, it doesn't transfer as much, and it's a pain. I spent hours once doing it, so I had to, in fact, mess about re-editing and all sorts on the phone just before I even transferred it, or someone's coming. So for these, I just do 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes. And I think I could go up to an hour, but it makes life easy. I'm just going to... someone's coming. So I'll just put on pause. Hello. Hello, sweetie.
We're outnumbered.
They're all friendly, don't they?
What breed's that?
Oh, she's half Alsatian.
Yeah, you've got the Alsatian.
Yeah, I think a little girl reckons she's a golden retriever, which I thought was potty until she stood next to one. It's weird, but she's 20, so I have to just be careful. When the light goes, her eyesight's going, so she can wonder how she does it. But I think at the moment she can still see.
She's a beautiful looking animal.
Yeah, she's sometimes I have to. I can give her about 3 or 4 hours, but then she starts getting knackered next day. Yeah. But she's still. I mean, she used to run about, but if she's still going, she's still going. It's better.
By 7, I'd be happy to be in the condition.
Well, some people, when the dogs get old, they use it as an excuse, and the dogs just get really old, and then they don't move. And because she's out a lot, I think it's kept her going.
Yeah.
And she doesn't run like she used to, but yeah, that's it. See you later. Oops. There we go, folks. What was it up to? I forgot what I was talking about. It's starting to rain anyway, so I'm glad I'm leaving it there. I forgot what I was chatting about. Oh, God. Well, it's raining and I've had enough, to be honest. Oh, dear. Anyway, I think I did have another subject to talk about, but it just gets stuff off my chest. If no one's interested in them. Who cares? Oh, yeah, that was it. Just uploading files. Yeah, I've just found, if I go over now, that's why I don't do the films that I do. I do break them up by stopping every 30 minutes or so, but it's only like 4 or 5 seconds you miss, if that, because I find once you press the off, turning it on, there's like a second or two. Doesn't do it straight away, which is irritating. Otherwise I could just press. That's what would be ideal to do, and then there will either 0 impact or so slight that you won't notice, but because there's like a couple of seconds in between, it's I mean, I'm not editing anything out, and that's the beauty of the live one as well. I try and do the live in one go, and then I've not edited anything. So if you're thinking I'm edited something out, either make somebody look good or bad or whatever, it's there. Anyway, that's just me drivelling. It was just a chap running. I think they're all wearing these vest things. I don't know if they've got water in or weights. You can hear the baby lamb's guts, man. When you're vegetarian. Well, even if I weren't vegetarian, I think I'd be upset. I just hope they're not going to, where, but I've got a feeling they are. It's not fair on them. Anyway, I won't go on to bore anyone, because people think if you go on about vegetarianism or veganism, you're a bit of a twit or whatever. Oh dear. Anyway, I'll end it there. See if I don't know when this will go up or if it'll crash or whatever. Hey ho, folks, I'll leave it there. Bye.